Good night, everyone. My name is Sebastián Hernández. I am from Victoria, and today I'm so glad to present you a novel. But it's not just a novel, it's the Monk novel by Matthew Lewis. So, we will delight you with a summary of the story and a brief analysis of pride and anti-Catholicism, which are two of the themes that we will see that appear throughout the story. So, first of all, who was Matthew Lewis? Matthew Lewis was an English novelist and dramatist who was born in the 18th century in London. He became famous rapidly after the success of the aforementioned novel, The Monk. After that success, he was known as Monk Lewis. That is so nice, isn't it? In fact, Matthew Lewis wrote the novel when he was just 19 years old. So he was so young and talented. He was clearly influenced by Anne Radcliffe, who was the leading Gothic novelist, and also by the contemporary German Gothic literature. So, we need to understand one thing, that is the circumstances in which the novel was written. We're talking about the Protestant England, where Catholicism was marginalized to support the Church of England. So we have to bear in mind that anti-Catholicism stems from that concrete moment in time. And before we start with the summary, we have just to mention that the story takes place in Madrid, where the characters experience bizarre and really strange happenings. So now we will have the help of a modern monk, okay, who will relate us the story. And after that, we will see the brief analysis and we will see the conclusion. So, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy. 18th century in Madrid we live in. Ambrose is the most admired monk in the city, who will not tolerate sinning others and will scold anyone who dare to offend our God. Antonia, a gorgeous young woman, is attending in the crowd while Ambrose is talking. She met a noble man, Lorenzo, and he fell in love with her. There started the problems. But first, it is her sister Agnes, who is a nun at the monk's monastery. But one day, Ambrosio reads a letter written by a man named Raymond to Agnes. The monk now knows the truth and doesn't wait to warn the prioress, who prepares the nun's punishment. Antonia came to Madrid with Elvira, her mother, to seek the aid of Raymond. As in the past, Elvira and her husband had to flee the city due to their frowned upon marriage. Lastly, they abandoned a son whom they were told was dead. This was such a tragedy. But don't forget about Rosario, another monk always repeating to Ambrosio. Rosario confesses he's Matilda, a young woman. She's disguised as a man to be next to him. Here's where the temptation begins. Things become darker. Ambrosio ends making love to her, thus taken to lust. After that, once more, he becomes obsessed with the young Antonia. So So Matilda helps him. She summons a demon who gives her a myrtle branch to open any door, and Ambrosio uses it to enter Antonia's house. But he's caught by Elvira, who threatens to confess what she has witnessed. The monk's true self. Out of his mind, Ambrosio kills her, full of rage. In this moment, Antonia is tormented by her mother's death. She threatens to commit suicide, so her servant finds the best monk in town. Ambrosio is the guy. The monk gives Antonia a potion that makes her apparently dead. He takes her to the monastery crypt, and he rapes her there. She tries to escape, but Ambrosio doesn't hesitate. He stabs and kills her. This is the end. Matilda and Ambrosio are brought to the Inquisition. She admits her guilt, but Ambrosio pleads innocence. He will repent. He's tortured so that he confesses. The Matildas execute, but Ambrosio feels her presence. Matilda's spirit advises him to sell his soul to the devil, and he agrees. The devil appears and reveals the truth. Ambrosio was the baby left by Elvira in her youth. She was told he was dead, but instead in Madrid at the monastery he was left. Also, Matilda was indeed a demon in human form. Could this story end worse? Well, of course. Ambrosio was given to eagles who ripped off his flesh. Then there were no miracles. These birds dropped him on sharp rocks. And here's where the monk's life stops. Hello again. I hope you enjoyed the summary. And now we're gonna comment on anti-Catholicism and pride, that, as we said before, they are themes that appear in the story. So, anti-Catholicism. Throughout the story, we see the idea of the inferiority of most Catholic institutions and practices. In fact, we're going to talk about celibacy. Celibacy in particular is identified as not only impossible, but as the cause of even graver sins. As soon as the monk has broken his vows of celibacy, as soon as he has yielded to lust, he starts to justify with no remorse at all acts like murder, rape, and even witchcraft. So now, pride. Pride makes Ambrosio's crimes truly evil. It induces Ambrosio to hide his offenses. Apart from that, we have to bear in mind that Ambrosio loves his status as the most revered monk in Madrid. And he loves to be praised and respected, and he's determined to maintain it, to keep it, even if that means lying to pretty everyone or even killing. So, we have inferred, after having understood the plot, story, is first of all the fall of man. Ambrosio, in the beginning, Ambrosio is adored, is considered as the epitome of righteousness. But in the end, as soon as he has yielded to lust, his empire, his reputation starts to collapse, and it collapsed. And as we have seen, the end is not very nice, to be honest. Well, finally, Gothic fiction. What we know about Gothic fiction is that it features horror or thriller elements, usually combined with romanticism. But in this case, the novel's emphasis is focused mainly on horror. So, horror is the star. To be honest, the erotism, the violence that we see through the story, it makes the novel so irresistible. It makes you want to end the story, to read it, everything. And that's all for today. If you have any questions, you can just ask me. And I'm so glad. Thanks for attending this meeting. Good night, everyone. My name is Sebastián Hernández, and it's been a pleasure.